I would like to applaud my friend Sri Omkareshwar Pandey and his team for organizing this the great Indian Women Award 2021 to recognize women achievers from different fields. I'm particularly happy to see that this event has turned out to be a truly global event, and also particularly delighted to see enthusiastic participation from men in this program. Friends, the issue of gender equality and women empowerment is indeed not a women's issue. It is important for all of us. According to some studies, uh, if women participate in economy identical as men, it can add to the world economy by about 12 to 30 trillion dollars annually. Therefore, ensuring the equal opportunity for women and ensuring rightful place of women in the society is not only a moral imperative, but also an essential prerequisite for achieving prosperity and sustainable development. For India, the issue of gender equity is even more fundamental, because democracy is the central feature of the idea of modern India. For some other countries, it may be an idea or a matter of choice, but for a country as diverse ethnically, linguistically, religiously, ideologically, only this incredible mind-boggling diversity can only be harmoniously accommodated and coexist only in a vibrant, free and democratic system. Democracy does not mean just holding of elections repeatedly. It fundamentally means that everyone, woman or man, has a say, has equal say. And respect for women and gender equality is also, friends, the essence of India's philosophical spiritual identity. In India, uh, from ancient times, uh, the belief is that the supreme power, the Almighty, is not identified with one particular gender. In Vedas, there are more than 30 women rishis who have seen the mantras. They are comparable to prophets in other Brahmic religions. And also Upanishad very categorically state that naiva stri na pumanasi na chaivayam napunsakah yat yat shariram adatte tena tena sayujyate. The Almighty, the Supreme Power, is not a woman nor a man. Na chaivayam napunsakah. Even neutral gender is not specifically assigned to him or her. Yat yat shariram adatte ten ten sa yujyate. Whatever body it acquires, the same gender it also possesses. And we have done great damage to ourselves by absorbing and thoughtlessly accepting the interpretation of Western Indologists about the concept of Purusha in Vedas. The Purusha in Vedic tradition, Vedic thought, is not a homomorphic conception. It is formless. It is a cosmic power pervading in the entire universe. Purishete sansare sarvam abhivyapya vartate sa purushah parameshwarah. Vishwataschakshurut vishwato mukho Vishwato Bahurut Vishwataspat Sahasra Sirasha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. So that Pulus is not a human bodied power. It has it pervades the entire universe, entire creation. It has infinite faces, it has infinite mouth, it has infinite hands, and therefore it is not the Purusha of a common typical Sanskrit word which is worshipped in Vedas. Also, friends, we have harmed ourselves very, very seriously by blindly transplanting in Indian thought and Indian mind a Western concept of sin, which is attached to something which is very fundamental and foundational for human existence itself. Similarly, the Western concept of gender equity or feminism is also uh, marked by the tendency to see women in isolation and insulated from the rest of the society. Therefore, the discourse there is women versus men. Whereas in Indian philosophy and Indian traditional ancient thought, male and female are always viewed as being intertwined inseparably. The Vedas spoke about complete unity and harmony between masculine and feminine energies. Sam te mano manasa, sam prana pranena gacchatam, bhavatam nah samanaso sachetasa arepaso. Chat Vedasau Shivau Bhavatam Naha. It speaks about a Yajurveda mantra from Yajurveda. It talks about the harmony and unanimity of the thought, the existence, the life, the mind between male and female. And also, Bhavani Shankarau Vande Shraddha Vishwas Rupinau. So there is a complete equality and identity between Bhavani and Shankar, and both are symbolism of Shraddha and Vishwas, and that is how they are worshipped together. In fact, in the worldly life, in physical life, traditionally it is the female which has been accorded primacy and more exalted status. Sahasram tu pitur mata गौरवेण अतिरिच्यते. माता का गौरव पिता के गौरव से कई सौ गुना ज्यादा होता है. ब्रह्मा जगत सृजति पालयति इंदिरेशः शंभुर विनाशयति देवी तव प्रभावैः. अगर ब्रह्मा जी जगत की रचना करते हैं और विष्णु जगत का पालन करते हैं, शंभु जगत का विनाश करते हैं, तो हे देवी ये तुम्हारी कृपा का, तुम्हारी प्रभाव का परिणाम है. Also, because of that traditional thought process, it was very easy for Indian society to accept the leadership positions by women. It's very, very significant that 1917, when the most of the world, Western world, was still debating about the voting rights of women, Annie Besant became the first female president of the Indian National Congress, 1917. 1925, Sarojini Naidu became the first India-born female president of the Indian National Congress. Even before them, the Kittur Chennamma, the Queen of Kittur in Karnataka, the Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi, and Begum Hajrat Mahal of Awadh, they had leadership role in fighting against the British. Also, after independence, Indian women have assumed very high exalted positions: president, prime minister, speaker, Supreme Court judges, chief ministers, governors, and playing a stellar role in sports and business and social services, even in military, including in combat roles. Women scientists are in the forefront of cutting-edge research and development in ISRO, and they played a critical role in the Mangalyaan mission. Now, friends, providing a life of dignity and fulfillment is the top priority of our Prime Minister Modi ji. And under his vision, India is moving from women development to women-led development. And women are seen as agents of change rather than targets and beneficiaries of welfare programs. The focus on women empowerment and centrality of women and girls has been the guiding principle of Prime Minister Modi's national development agenda. If you look at his very first major national initiative, Swachh Bharat Mission, that was primarily driven by his empathy for the women. Similarly, the LPG connections, the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao scheme, the Jan Dhan, the Mudra scheme, the Manrega scheme, most of them have been primarily designed to uplift the women and girls. Being an ambassador and foreign service officer, and I'm feeling a bit hesitant to speak in front of my very senior colleague and dear friend Avadhoot Podgalji, but I'm happy to share that in foreign service, in international relations, women have played pioneering role in setting the Indian women have been pioneers in setting the global norms on gender issues. It was an Indian leader, Indian lady, Hansa Jeevraj Mehta. She was the Indian delegate to the UN Commission on Human Rights and played a very, very critical role. Without her efforts in ensuring a gender sensitive language, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights may have been the Universal Declaration of the Rights of Man. And she fought tooth and nail to ensure that there was a gender sensitive formulation in terms of human rights, not rights of man. Similarly, in 1953, Pandit Vijay Lakshmi Pandit became the first female to be elected the President of General Assembly. Only 3 women have served as the UNGA President, and all 3 are from the developing countries. No women from the developed north has been recommended for assuming this responsibility. Similarly, in peacekeeping operations, the Indian women have played a very significant role in conflict prevention, the peace negotiation and peace keeping, past conflict reconstruction. And India has been promoting these as an important prerequisite for lasting peace and security. Way back in 2007, India took the leadership of sending first ever all women police peacekeeping with the UN military international mission in Liberia. They performed an exemplary duty in Liberia since 2007 to 2016. And you'll be very happy to notice that because of their inspiring contribution in inspiring leadership in a role, it resulted in participation of women in Liberia security forces from 6% to about 20%. Similarly, in 2019, the female expert team of 22 officers and soldiers as part of a rapidly deployable battalion in Congo was deployed. And also, India has been providing training to foreign women officers in post-conflict situation at the Center for UN Peacekeeping in New Delhi together with UN Women. In soft power, women are the real stars of Indian culture, dance and music and poetry and literature. And in diplomacy, our late Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj ji has led from the front in introducing change in the foreign ministry, and she has left an indelible imprint on Ministry of External Affairs. We have had privilege of 3 women foreign secretaries and a number of women HOMs who have played an extremely important role in very difficult and challenging
Second team, please check the sound, please.
Yeah, and once again, I must thank Omkareshwar ji for hosting this very important event, and also the participation, the wide-ranging participation from different parts of India and also from many other countries. It's very, very encouraging. Let me end with a Vedic mantra. Sangachadhvam samvadadhvam samvo manansi janatam Deva bhagam yatha purve sanja nana upasate. We as a Indians, as inheritors of great Indian culture and civilization, we I think can show the leadership role to the world about working together. And women's equity, women's empowerment has been inherent part of our tradition, and we have been kind of misled and misdirected and lost the track. We have to restore the glory that Indian women had traditionally in our society. Thank you so much.
भारतीय परिवेश में नारी शक्ति का इतनी सुंदर तरीके से व्याख्या करने के लिए अखिलेश सर आपको कोटि कोटि धन्यवाद, कोटि कोटि नमन है। मेरे पास शब्द नहीं है आपको धन्यवाद करने के लिए। एंड हैड इट बीन ए फिजिकल meeting, I would have requested everybody for a standing ovation to you, which you very richly deserve. But I think a clap is good enough from all of us. Sir, you have re-established our faith in the Nari Shakti of India, and you have enriched our knowledge